We're being live.
We are in, and if you see it on yours, go ahead and share it to your page.
It just says this meeting is being live streamed. I think.
Okay, and we are live. Yes, yes. Here we are. And I need to make this so you can see it. Everybody's watching me do all my little stuff. All right. Hello and happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the WonderMama Coffee Chat. Today I always have an incredible guest, but today is no different. I have Cheyenne Syverson, and we came in, and I am going to do a little bit of a bio read for just so that you have an idea of, well, she's wonderful. You want to just take my word for it? I'll do a tiny bit of a read, but today we're going to actually talk about a little bit about comparison in the world of entrepreneurs. And Cheyenne, what did you say? What did you say? Was you're your own
You're all,
snowflake?
yeah, your own snowflake. You're all different, and that's the beauty of it.
Truly, truly, that is the truth. I love that. I mean, we can say it so many different ways. And I think how this came up, we were going to only talk about financial literacy today, but what came up was sometimes we make decisions, financial decisions that don't match our plan. Something comes in, and not everything that comes in as a big expense that we weren't planning is a shiny object. Sometimes it's a real opportunity. And so we were talking about that. But let me just step in here for a second. So this lovely lady is Cheyenne Syverson. She is a financial coach, speaker, and founder of Inspiring Solutions for You. And today, I just told you what we're going to talk about, but her path in this work hasn't always been a straight line. I don't
No.
know whose has. She began her career studying animal and equine science, and it was the unexpected turns of her own life that sparked a deep passion for financial literacy. She's got over 20 years of experience as a lender and financial coach later, and she brings something really rare to the conversation. And of course, we're going to talk about comparison. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Um, Real world strategy she's got for you that is rooted in lived experience. And so this is live here on Facebook, as we always are. So if you are watching, and please feel free to drop us some hearts, let us know you're here. And if you have any questions, definitely drop it in the chat. I am watching. The other thing is we talk for about 30 minutes here live streamed, and then we drop into a private conversation inside the WonderMama. And for some reason, the WonderMama private community, I don't know if you can tell by my eyes switching back and forth, but I am lost on my technology. Has given me a moment. Well, I was getting us all set up. It went a little sideways for me. Okay. So we are live here for about 30 minutes, and then we drop into a private conversation with our WonderMama community. So if you are not part of the WonderMama community and are interested, the door is always open. Just drop me a DM and let me know. But otherwise, let's get into it.
Yes.
Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Leonne. This is fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity to join you guys.
So, wait, first of all, in the background, you have a gorgeous napper.
Yes.
Tell everybody who that is.
That is Miss Zelda May. She is my Belgian Malinois Dutch Shepherd. I always say she protects my assets,
Mm.
so that I can help other people protect theirs. Um,
Ooh.
because um, a little background, I grew up with a hearing challenge. I've since had surgery, so it's better. However, she is my she's like she's gonna hear things before I hear things, and so it just makes me feel comfortable as a single mom.
Oh.
to know that I have somebody that's going to say, "Hey, mom, there's someone at the door," before I realize it. So it's kind of a little security blanket, and she's a great companion. She often sits on my feet when I'm on calls. I'm standing today, so that's why she's like, "Well, fine, I'll go to the couch." But normally she is the 90-pound weight on my feet, and then randomly licks my feet. I'm like, "Hey," right? Or she'll bump my arm like, "Hey, you've sat at the computer long enough. Time to get up.
Mhm.
Let's go."
Yes. I actually love those reminders. I have three dogs here with me. Um, and they keep me company, they keep me running, and they're very bossy, but they do leave me be when I am on calls, which is pretty amazing. But the minute I think I say, like, I don't know what it is, that there's a tell, I guess, in the sound of my voice or something, but all three of them are usually at my elbow when they're like, your call, it's done now. Um, Pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we were gonna really talk about financial literacy, and I really think that we shouldn't abandon that plan because you have something really valuable to share, especially with moms, single moms, entrepreneurs, well, anybody who just needs a little bit of that. And so, instead of completely abandoning it, to talk about comparison, which touches everybody, maybe we can kind of blend both things into
Oh,
today's
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, with
Absolutely.
money comparison. So first of all, what would you say to somebody who's just, I don't even know where to start, Cheyenne. I'm a paycheck to paycheck mom just making it work.
It I always enjoy helping people first step back and let's explore where you've been and to realize that you did the best you could with the information that you had. We often feel so much shame and guilt around how we've done it before, where we're at, we're not where we want to be, we have all these goals and dreams and we don't know how to get there. And I've worked with someone that went through a divorce that had no idea how to manage her money at all. Never didn't have a plan, never had a plan with her ex-husband, like none of it. Not even how to control her spending. And we worked through the whole thing. But to understand that 95% of what we do are unconscious habits, things that have been trained before the age of 7. So I pose the question, do you know a millionaire that's 7 years old? And people laugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course you don't. I don't. Unless they're a trust fund baby, they probably are not. So
Right.
you're working out of those habits. A lot of them were trained how you manage your health, how you manage your money, all before you even knew you were being trained. So I invite people that we're going to retrain their money brain because it needs to be retrained. Just like if you're getting used to, you grow up getting used to eating sugar and now you want to be healthier, you have to retrain your brain to say, we don't need that anymore. Not saying it's easy, but there's a way, right? There's a process, there's a strategy to work through that.
You put something so vivid into my mind just now when you asked that 7-year-old thing. I'm like, oh my gosh. I remember when I got my, what's it called when you get your money for doing your chores? Uh,
An allowance.
Allowance, when I earned an allowance, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
had like a hot $5 in my hand. Like that was a lot of money. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what toy can I buy for $5? And so when that money was in my hand at 7, I was so excited to go out and spend it. And
Mm-hmm.
what was interesting was you always wanted the $100 toy, right? But you
Right.
have this money in your hand, this $5, you worked hard for it, and you just want to spend it on something really, really, yes, I have $5. What can I get for $5? And then instead of knowing anything about saving, because our brain is like, ooh, right?
Right.
We buy the cheap $5 toy
Mm-hmm.
and we're really happy in a moment, right? That dopamine drop. I just
Yeah.
I bought this with my own money and it's precious and it's powerful, but now there's no money and you didn't know anything about saving. And
Right.
then you're 8 years old and someone says, you know, you could save your $5 every week and then save up for that $100 toy. And then that goes and that lands. So when you're 7, there's not even the emotional connection to
Right.
be able to do that. Oof. Anyway,
Right.
that was powerful. Love that.
Yeah. Well, and the other part that plays into that is, okay, if you watch TV and you watch commercials, I know a lot of kids stream now, so they probably haven't watched a lot of commercials, but a lot of us have, right? Those people that make those commercials study human psychology to get you to buy. So not only maybe your parents didn't know to teach you how to save or help you learn how to save, then you also add in these marketing people that have a lot of money, that have psychologists on their board to make marketing material so that these kids feel driven to buy that toy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your parents feel driven to buy whatever they buy. And so you're watching all this because a lot of it is really observing, is how you learn a lot. How did your
Yeah.
parents handle money? Did they save? Did they spend? Did they buy stuff and then feel guilty about it? Did they say, well, we couldn't afford it, but they bought it anyways? And then you felt the guilt because you know they bought it for you even though they couldn't afford it. So there's all
Mm.
these things that are programmed in long before we know we're being programmed. And then you wonder, and then you just have your normal mindset, right?
Yeah.
That your brain, you have the inner critic that makes you feel guilty because, oh, you went and did this. So that's because that's that inner critic that's trying to really protect you. Like there's nothing wrong. We're often taught, oh, we need to retrain it, da 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 da. But in reality, that inner critic is trying to evaluate, should you run from it, freeze from it, or fight it?
Mm.
That's just a natural human nature. So now
Yeah.
you add the marketing, you add the lack of education, and then you add your just normal human nature, and then we
Right.
wonder why we're a mess financially.
Oof. So yes. And so I love this because then it ties in that FOMO comparison thing, right? That hits
Right,
really hard with money,
right,
especially, right? So,
right.
um,
Because you're like that peacock, right? You feel better when you can kind of strut your stuff and you're wearing the fancy shoes or you got the nice purse because we're talking to moms. For guys, it might be the nice truck. It might
mhm.
be, whatever the neighbor has. For farmers, it's the nicest tractor in the area, the section.
Yeah.
And it's not out of necessity. My youngest got his first vehicle. He got a steal of a deal on it. It's not perfect. It has a lot of miles. I'm like, but dude, you could, because other people that do a lot of buy, sell, rebuy, all this stuff. I'm like, you will lose your money the fastest way if you get into that habit of always thinking you need the next bigger, better truck. I said,
Mhm.
this will last you, and you should be able, put a new engine in it, put a new transmission in it, and run that baby until the wheels fall off and you'll
Yeah.
do so much money ahead. I was like, if you can put that money in an investment, will launch your lifestyle way better than that impulsive, I need a new truck now.
Yeah.
Just because
So
you're
in
making money doesn't mean you should replace it. So,
But investment. So somebody who's never done that, right? So I have, my two of my children in the military,
mhm,
all of the sudden you go from zero to making a lot of money. Well, a
mhm.
lot to you, but still, I mean, there's money, regular money
Right.
coming in, and you're not really saving it. You're not really spending it. So there's the opportunity to truly save, right? And then all of any old bills you have gets paid off, and then you have enough money for a new car,
Yes.
right? And I can afford it, and I can afford it. And so the new car gets purchased, right? The really beautiful $50,000 vehicle. Anyway, okay. Okay. And then real life hits, right? And then real life hits. And then there's the 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 car payment and the rent and food and other bills. And now I don't have even enough money to, I don't know, do anything fun
Right.
because I am now car poor. But so it's the short-sightedness and not really understanding. And so, investing. So that feels like giving away my money to nobody, to somebody like that, somebody young like that. So how do you speak to that?
A few different ways. The other thing to think about is, the insurance, the fuel, the maintenance on these vehicles. People don't think about the whole picture. It's even like buying a house. Um, People buy the house and they think, yay, I'm a homeowner. They forget they need rugs, they
Mhm.
need a dish drainer, they need soap and laundry and all the things. And all of a sudden, you think, oh, I really had to scrape by to get this down payment, or maybe you did the minimum down payment. Now you're paying mortgage insurance because you didn't quite save long enough to have more to prevent that. And then you get into this house and go, well, I don't even have a chair to sit on. Then they
Right.
think they need to go and buy this whole brand new set. And that's where I love like the Facebook marketplace and all the other places. You buy
Yep.
used. Use it until it falls apart. If you saw my kitchen chairs, people would be like, I don't want to sit on that. And I'm like,
Oh,
I don't care.
Dad, I bought that for $10 from Facebook Marketplace. I
Right.
love it. Yeah.
I have pets, I have kids. I'm like, they're just a
Yeah.
place to sit on to park my butt to eat. And I don't
Yeah.
really care. Like, it is what it is. If they break, okay, I got a couple more sitting out in my storage that I can replace,
Right.
right? Um, so people forget about that. So talking about that investment is really how can you start now? And I actually encourage children, encourage families to bring in their children when they talk to me. Let me share with them because I have shown my boys to the point that my youngest is the saver in between the two kids. My oldest is learning now that he has his own money. He's been listening. He just wasn't doing it when it was my money. Different story now. But I always spoke into they love hunting, fishing, those types of things is save until you can buy the quality item because if you hurry up and buy that cheaper quality item, you're going to end up buying the more expensive one. If you would have just waited a little bit longer, you could have had the quality item that lasts you longer and you only would have bought it once. Now you bought the cheap thing and you bought the expensive thing. So now you've spent way more money than just having saved a little bit longer for the expensive thing and to
Yeah.
plan because that also gives you the moment to go, do I really need whatever you think you're going to purchase? Or
Hmm.
is there something better? It gives you the opportunity to research. I say, do your research. And I laughed when my youngest bought his binoculars or no, it was a spotting scope. Anyways, he's like, "Yep, this is the one I want to buy." Da 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 da. And I'm like, "Okay, so you did your research?" "Yes, mom. I did my research. I've checked out all these things, and this is the best mid range. Without, of course, you need to find the mid range, not necessarily, the outfitting, the high end
Right.
stuff, because even the mid range is still going to last you way longer than the bottom range, right? And they're going to function and maintain. But
Right.
I thought it was quite funny because he was like, "Yes, mom, I did my research. Oh, I know what I did. I asked him if he needed to go get another one of our friends' opinions that does a lot of hunting. He's like, "No, mom, I have done my research. I've checked it all out. This fits what I can, fits
Right.
the parameters. It's high quality." I'm like, "Okay, all right, just double checking." Like, I'm good, you know. And that was one at 15. So the
Right.
message was holding. Um, but I always tell people a lot of my messaging is anything above zero compounds. So when you're starting to build the savings and people are like, oh, when I make more money, then I'll save. Then you're losing years of compounding interest that your money could be working for you. And you're training the brain to be scarcity mindset, thinking, oh, I can't afford it yet. So I always invite people to start with $1. You grow with $1, you give $1, and you save $1. So the save $1 is telling yourself that you deserve it. You deserve to pay yourself out of that success that you got that income. The giving is to train your brain to live in abundance, that I have enough to give. And because over time, the more you train your brain to give and have gratitude, the more it comes back to you tenfold when you least expect it. Then
Yes.
the grow with the dollar is buy the book, buy the event, save for something that will up level you. Because when you do that, your whole life and your perspective and how you carry yourself, your confidence all shifts. And start with just that dollar and then you grow it as because then as your brain gets more comfortable with it, you put the next dollar or the next five or the next 10, and before you know it, you're trained your brain to be a saving brain. So then the next time your brain's like, let's go buy, and your saving brain's like, no, 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 we're not going to do that because our plan is to do this. So your saving brain gets louder than that inner critic that's trying to protect you, right? And so that's what a lot of the concepts that I try to teach is how we're retraining that money brain so that it gets louder. Not that the critic needs to go away, it just needs to get softer. So your other saving brain, your success brain can outlast it and be louder, say, nah, And it comes back even with confidence, with that comparison, because when you train that confidence brain, then that comparison, that little critic will say, yeah, but Jane Doe bought those new shoes. And you're like, I don't need those new shoes because I'm doing this amazing thing. I'm making this amazing impact with my business or with my family. And those shoes don't mean anything. I have shoes that suffice, that are fine. They fit comfortably. They don't look perfect and they don't need to, and that's the mind strategy that's going on in your head. But this voice that's telling you to save and to prepare is getting louder. It's not saying you shouldn't have cash flow and spend money, but you do it intentionally with a plan. And
Yeah.
same with that $15 and the investing, because people are like, well, where is it going? It's like, do you realize where your money's going? Every time, all you're doing is paying for somebody else to go buy their dreams.
Hmm.
Everything you buy, the store, the whatever. And I'm not saying I would love, paying a little extra on paying for that local provider, right? Someone that is that family owned business, because why not?
Right.
They're gonna care if you come back every day. Walmart could care less, right? You know what I mean? Those big companies, they don't care if you don't come. They want you there
No.
because they want more money. That's their whole profit margin. But if one person dropped off, it's no big deal.
Tell me, say again with the saving piece because um the three things because I heard I've heard from many people and this was really helpful to me is if your money doesn't have a job, it goes and finds one. And so I love that, it'll find something to do if it doesn't have
Yeah.
if there's not a plan for it. So you said save a dollar,
Give a dollar,
give it,
grow with a
grow
dollar.
a dollar.
Yeah.
Yes. And then that one little thing, save a dollar, give a dollar, grow with a dollar, that helps create a safety net in your brain that kind of builds on that branch of your brain finding comfort and safety in saving.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just training. It's training because then as you make more money, you put more money into each of those pots. Right.
Yeah.
And so
So
then
yeah.
otherwise, you're just going to spend it. And you were saying about money will find a home. Have you ever had that $100 you put in your wallet and then all of a sudden you go to get it and it's gone? Well, that's because you didn't tell it where to go. It just left. And it did because you're like, you spent, you broke it, you broke the $100 and then you spent five there, 10 there, 15 there, $20 there. And I
Yeah.
challenge people too with back to the investing and what I call leaky windows. It's that $15 app. And I just think, imagine if you took $15 a month and you put it in a tool that averages an 8% return on your investment for 20 years, that'll turn into $8,000 with less than half of it your cash. Now, where else are you spending 15, 20, $100 that could be going into that pot and growing?
Right.
You think $15 over 20 years turns into 8,000 with less than half of it my cash. So we're talking doubling your money essentially, right?
Yeah.
How else
All right.
can you cut back to put in there?
But where do you put it? Like it all feels like a big racket. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you know where to invest your money? So, I mean, for people who like, there are people who study it and they know the language because it's a whole it's a whole language, it's a whole culture, investing and saving. And so I know you, I trust you, I believe in the work that you do and your heart and the work that you do. But
Mm.
how does somebody find someone who can help them with their money if they want to begin investing?
A lot of it, you can start self-directed, really. Now, what I do and the team that I work with, we're all about education first. We build that customized plan. We work with finding out. So there's many different things to consider, right? Do you have an emergency fund? When are you retiring? Are you in your 60s? Well, then we need a different plan than if you're in your 20s. You want to look at, and you'll hear, and I'll share this as far as like the health world, right? You've heard eat the egg, don't eat the egg. Money
Mhm.
is a lot the same way. You have one guru that says pay off all your debt and invest the rest after your debt is paid off. I tried that, but when life kept happening, I never had savings enough because I was trying to pay off all my debt, and then life would happen and I ended up back in this horrific cycle. So you have to balance that. And there's ways to grow your money without risk to the money that you put in. There's ways to put your money into something that you have the risk of loss. You hear about the stock market, right?
Mhm.
You have the risk of loss of losing everything. I'll share the example 2008 when the markets crashed. You had people that were almost to retirement that lost
Yeah.
half their retirement. Now, if they would have had a financial professional that would take that money and would have what's called diversifying your portfolio, putting your eggs in multiple baskets, you could have had some at a risk in the stocks. You could add some like in an insurance product that protects your principal. And then if you still have more debt, you could have a short-term type of insurance plan that just covered so if something happened to you, your family's taken care of. But it takes that conversation to learn. So using a high yield savings account is a really good place to start if you don't have an emergency account. Because in just the bank account, you're not getting enough interest on it. So you're not even beating inflation. You're paying, most banks are paying less than 0.5%.
Yeah.
And we go through that. Like when I'm working with someone, I teach them all these little basics, like what that looks like in detail. We look at what they already have established. And if they have nothing, we start with the basics. Let's start with your emergency fund.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
just $1,000 because that barely buys tires for your car anymore. Like we're talking
No, it buys tires. That's it. For a regular
maybe
car.
for a
Yeah.
regular,
For a
regular,
regular passenger
regular
car.
mom
Yeah.
car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really about finding that financial professional that's willing to lead with education first. Because I know my first experience, I went to a financial advisor. I had two little boys. I was still married at the time. And they're like, oh, you need 25,000 to get started. I'm like, I don't have 25,000 to get started. We just bought our home. We have two little ones. Like, but it wasn't a conversation of, well, how do I get 25,000 to put into it? It was just like, well, you need 25,000 to get started. I'm going, well, then I feel like I was just at a
Okay, bye. Yeah,
right.
100%. Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I've coached people, leveraging other tools that some people might not, certificates of deposit. Now, are there other ways to do it better that I've learned? Certainly. But if it's a place to start, it's a place to start. If you can start with a $500 CD and that's all you can afford, and then every 6 months you put in another $500, great. It's a
Yeah.
place to retrain your brain. Then you come meet someone like me or another financial professional that educates. We're going to help you take that CD and do so much more with it. You know, but there's so many options. I'm grateful to have had my banking experience because I learned about all those aspects, and then I learned about the insurance world and went, oh, this is a whole nother category of opportunity, right? That I can help my
Yeah.
with. And I love about it because I have access to such a broad sweep of options. I can really make it customized, and so do other financial professionals. I just
Yeah.
love helping people, educate them, and seeing that light bulb go off and go, it's that easy. Yeah, it can be.
It can
Once you get
be.
out of your own way, most of the time we're just standing in our own way like a brick wall, right? We're like, oh, it's too scary to talk about money. It's too scary to start savings because I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I invite people, start with the dollar. You need to fix your health and you need to start walking. If you don't have time for 30 minutes, you go 5. It's
Right.
that concept of anything above 0 compounds. The adverse is true with anything above 0 compounds too. You're sitting watching TV or you're flipping through your phone. What happens? You start with 1 minute, and before you know it, you've spent 5 hours and you went, oh, I didn't even make dinner yet, and it's 9 o'clock and I'm hungry, right?
Right. Right.
So it's about, what can you put in place to help you stay on track? And I'm not paid for this, but I use an app called Streaks. Changed my whole consistency focus because I can put in up to 24 things. It helped you start to learn, because I've done the 75 hard challenge, which is a topic for another day, but it teaches you how, okay, if these are your you have to do these today, and you schedule them. You can schedule them multiple times, you can schedule them only once a week, like whatever that makes sense for you. But it helps you when you want to procrastinate. You're like, oh, I want to sit here and do this, but I remember I still have these tasks to do. I
Mhm.
do one of my exercises I do is, I lay with my legs up the wall. It helps for circulation and different things. Well, while I'm doing it, I'm reading my affirmations, or I'm reading my
Mhm.
Bible verse, or you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
learn to, well, I'm just laying here doing nothing. I can be doing deep breathing. That's one
Mhm.
of my things. You start to figure out, how can I combine it so I'm efficient at it, but I'm building the consistency, because what the consistency does is it builds trust with yourself, and it's back to the comparison. The more trust you
Yeah.
have with yourself, the less you compare to others, because you're like, I'm doing my work for my journey and they're
Right.
doing their work for their journey. It's the same when we want to be judgmental to people and say, I can't believe they did that. Hey, they're on their own journey. They're doing
This
their,
is going to be so good for anyone who got to listen to us today. Can you believe that we're already past 12:30?
oh my
It's
gosh.
amazing. I know. It goes so fast. And I still want us to talk about deeper dive into the comparison thing. And maybe we're gonna have like a side recording or something that we just post, because I think we could really, really talk about this. And these conversations really help people at least know that there is a conversation that can be had. And so if for those of you who are here with us on Facebook Live or live here,
Mhm.
please feel free to drop your questions in into the we'll be Cheyenne and I will be watching the comment section of this post for a few days. Also, if you're part of the Wonder Mama, jump in and have a conversation with us. But either way, if this was really helpful, please connect with Cheyenne. um, and I know that I know this woman, and she is there truly. She is walking the talk and talking the talk. So definitely reach out to her. And Cheyenne, before I let you go, and I will update the post later. But what is the best way for people to connect with you?
LinkedIn, Facebook, reach out to me on Facebook. I'm watching my messages all the time because I'm just here for people, how they can reach me. But Facebook, since we're on Facebook, is a great place to start.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. And for those of you who've been with us, thank you so much for being with us here today live. I'm looking over here because you're sitting over here on Facebook Live. And um and we're going to stop our live stream now and drop into a private conversation, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. But quickly before I go, I want to tell you who we're going to speak with next week. Da, 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 da. We actually have Louis Guzman, who is also a financial um, professional. So this is going to be interesting. We're going
Yeah.
to talk about comparison too. Ha ha ha. Anyway, he's somebody new to me. Um, also, Cheyenne and I connected through the Connected Leaders Academy, and that's how we got connected. And I am so grateful to the Connected Late, the CLA, for creating a space where I can meet people like Cheyenne. So take care of yourselves, and I'll
Thank
see you next
you.
week.
Take care.